Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's session, we will learn about what is object-oriented programming and what are the features of object-oriented programming, and also we will see what are the different types of inheritance with few examples. Okay, so let's start. As I mentioned, in object-oriented programming, the importance is given to data rather than functions. In procedure-oriented programming, the importance is given to functions. Procedure-oriented programming examples are your C programming language, your Fortran, all this comes under procedure-oriented programming. Procedural-oriented programming, we will write all the procedures in the sense, the form of functions. As you know, function is a self-contained block of statements which are to be executed to perform certain tasks. So in the procedural-oriented programming, we normally give importance to functions. As we discussed, right, we have scanf, printf, getch, clr, ser, etc. So this procedural oriented programming, then object oriented programming, all these are called as programming paradigms. Programming paradigms. The programming paradigms are the way how we are writing the programs based upon either we write with the help of functions or with the help of objects, etc. As you know that object oriented programming involves writing the programs in an object oriented way. So object-oriented programming is a method of implementation in which programs are organized as a collection of classes. So as we discussed, there are few important concepts in object-oriented programming. Those we call it as pillars of object-oriented programming, pillars of OOPS. So there are mainly four important pillars of object-oriented programming. The one is called as data abstraction, data encapsulation, data encapsulation, and we have inheritance, and we have polymorphism. What is polymorphism? What is inheritance? What is data encapsulation? What is data abstraction? We will discuss in detail. So not only these four, we also have few other things which are part of object-oriented programming. Any programming language to be called as object-oriented programming language must have the following properties like class, object, data abstraction, data encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance. Next is called as dynamic binding and message passing. Any programming language follows all these things, then we call such type of language as called as object-oriented programming language. So our Java is an object-oriented programming language. Not only Java, nowadays we have Visual Studio .NET is also object-oriented programming. PHP is object-oriented programming language. Python is object-oriented programming language. So there are several programming languages which are following the object-oriented programming paradigm. Now let us understand what is a class. As you know that whenever we want to define a class in any interview, you can tell one answer like what is a class means. A class is a blueprint for what? For creating objects. For creating objects. So what do you mean by blueprint? For example, if you want to build a house, then you need a proper plan. Without looking at the plan, whatever you create will not be in a good shape. So there must be a plan to be properly executed. So a class acts like a blueprint. A class acts like a blueprint for what? Creating objects. Objects are nothing but an exact copy of a class. A class is a blueprint for creating objects, and a class is a logical entity. It's a user defined type. It's a user defined type. What do I mean by user defined type? We have data types, which represent the type of the data to be stored in the memory of the computer. A class, whenever you want to declare, you can create person p1 is equal to new person. So like this, we will create an object. So p1 is of what type? Person type. So it's a user defined type. Similarly, if you write box b1 is equal to new box, something like box class. So b1 is of what type? Box type. So if I write integer I1 is equal to new integer of 100. So now tell me what is I1? I1 is of what type? Integer class type. This is a different concept. So we have int x is equal to, so int age is equal to 27. Now tell me age is of what type? Integer type. Similarly, p1 is of what type? Person type. This person we have defined. That's why it is called as user defined type. A class person is declared with the following syntax. Class is used, class keyword is used to declare the class. A class can be defined as follows: class name. So here we have data members and we have member functions inside the class. So in Java, everything must go inside the class. We should not declare anything outside the class. So everything must go inside the class. If you define a main method, that must go inside the class. You cannot define anything outside of the class. So everything must go inside the class. So class is a keyword which can be defined by using access specifiers as well. We will learn what are access specifiers. So access specifiers will tell the scope of accessing this value or the scope of accessing this class. So this is nothing but a class. We will see in a simple example how to define a class in the next video. Thank you.